So a bit of change of pace. We're back to Professor Werner now from the University of Fort Hare. He spoke to us earlier about article writing, and he's going to share with us now more on balancing life demands, research demands, institutional demands, and how do you come out mentally healthy at the end of it. Thank you, Werner.
I live in the Eastern Cape. Just a bit about that. So Liesel's asked me to chat a bit about life balances, and I don't necessarily have it all together. I'm married with 4 kids, and it is quite demanding on one's time. Okay, so I've put something together just to illustrate and to put things in perspective on balancing life, balancing the academics, balancing basically everything that one has to do, especially in these days with so much pressure, with WhatsApps and emails and all of that. One is always connected, and I have basically lived all my life within 2 kilometers of the sea. So we are big ocean users as a family, and I thought that I would give a talk on a surface 10-point guide. As I said, I've basically lived my whole life at the ocean, so I thought that just to do it a bit differently, that I would give you a surface 10-point guide, of which there's actually 11, to reasonably safely navigate life and everything that has to do with that, and to be a sort of successful academic and improve your chances of being liked, or at least not disliked by everybody. But of course, if this is what you want to do, because one has to remember that this is a choice. If you choose family and if you choose life and a balance, then you've got to do this. If you choose your career, then that's fine. And a lot of people live very full lives, and I know a number of them live very full lives chasing a career and chasing the academic part and the research part of that life. So I want to give you 11 points of the surface guide to balancing life. And the first point is know the rules and stick to them. Surfing, like life, has a number of rules. And if you have a family, that you have rules for your family, and you have rules at your institution, and you have rules working and collaborating with other people. And you have to know those rules. A family rule is, of course, your family comes first. And if that is what you want to do and that's your choice, then that is the rule and you have to stick with it. Of course, when you're in a departmental setup and you have your HOD and you have your department work that you're focusing on, there's certain rules in the department as well, and there's certain rules in your institution. Most stress, no, let me rephrase it. All of the stress that you will find in life is when you break the rules. Believe me, if you break your family's rules by choice or by accident, that will give you stress. If you break rules at work, in other words, if you fight the system maybe a bit too much, and I'm not saying that fighting the system is wrong, but if you want to fight the system, the hierarchy, if you want to fight against things that are put to you to do that may not necessarily sit with you, that you don't want to do, tasks that your HOD is giving you to do, and you're not so keen on that, that brings stress. And you have choices to make, and you can choose not to follow all the rules, but I promise you, if you do not follow rules, you will have stress. So my first point is know the rules and stick to them if you want to avoid stress. I'm not saying all rules are right, and I'm not saying that you should not fight the rules, but you must remember always that even if you choose to fight the rules, the institutional rules, and your family rules, you will get stressed. Second point is that old bullies are always right. Now, this is a South African slang word. Bully is an old South African slang word for an older person. There is hierarchy. There's hierarchy in the family, and there's hierarchy and the institution. Hierarchy in the family means your folks, your kids, and all of that. And if you choose to um, to be, or if there's problems in the family, you will there will be stress. If you choose to, if your folks and your family, there's issues, there's not cohesion, then unfortunately you will always have stress, and it'll be very difficult to deal with that. But family aside, even in an institution, and even in a situation where in a work environment. I have got a very good example. So I was very young in my career, and I just started at my institution, and I was given a task by the then dean of research. It wasn't what I wanted to do at that time. It was an immense task. It was totally overwhelming, and I refused to do it. Obviously, that created a lot of havoc. Um, but I'll come back to that a bit later. But because I choose not to give the old bully his dues, I received a lot of flack, and a lot of things came my way which was not the best for me as a person. It didn't affect my career so much, but as a person, it created a lot of stress. So one must always remember that if you have tasks being given to you by the old bullies, and by this I mean the HODs, I mean your dean and things like that, it may be sometimes better just to do it. Just to do it, it will be easier on you as a person, and it will reduce your stress levels if you do a task and if you do it well. The third point is that you must commit. You must commit. If it means that you commit to a research project, then commit. There's nothing worse than committing or saying you'll do something and you don't commit to it. People are waiting on you. If you say you will do something for a research project, then so be it. You must commit. And it's the same in the family. If you commit to your family, then you must be all in. You see this guy there, he's obviously committed to this massive wave that he's going to ride. And he's all in. He's probably going to take a beating a couple of seconds after this photo was taken, but he's all in. And that is what you will have to do. You must be, if you choose to, you must be all in. For the family, if your kids need you to go and watch their soccer practice or watch their rugby or whatever, you must commit and you must stick to it. There's nothing worse than a person coming back on his word. Having said that, you will see on this photo there's a second guy there surfing the same wave, and he is what we call on the shoulder. He's at a more easier spot than the guy that's fully committed and on the inside. Sometimes it is better to be on the shoulder. What does that mean? It means that you are committed, but but you choose to do the tasks that you can do. You are not fully in, and you have put that out from the start to say, listen, I'm not fully committed to this. I am committed to what I can do, and what I will do, I'll do well, but I am on the shoulder of this wave. And that is okay. Getting older, having more tasks to do, like myself in a part of my career where, and Isabel has spoken about that as well. I have a lot of tasks and a lot of things. My kids are in an age where they need me. I have to be on the shoulder of a lot of things, a lot of tasks. And that's okay. But you have to say from the start, I'm on the shoulder on this one. But if you commit to the wave, you've got to commit to the wave. In one's career and in family life, the takeoff is crucial. You have to take off correctly. When you are young and in early career, this is the time to write. This is the time to publish. You have to take off well to ride the wave successfully. In one's career, that means the time is now. When I was young, without kids, worked until 10, 11 o'clock in the evenings, not always necessarily successfully, but at least I was there trying to do the work. When you start having a family, you you have to take off correctly. Your kids need you from the start. And unfortunately, if you're a female researcher, that is very, very difficult. Females are family setup, of course, are the primary caregivers. And husbands and young husbands, don't be an ass. The family needs you, your wife needs you to do your work, and you have to commit to your family. So research wise, if you're young, this is the time. And for a young family, you have to commit, and the takeoff is absolutely crucial. Point five is you will wipe out. And that's a given. Nobody has a session in the waves and don't fall. You will wipe out, you will make mistakes. And that is includes with institutional mistakes, like the mistake I told you earlier that I made. There was a big wipeout. You will wipe out. And in the family as well. You will wipe out. Things don't always work out as you wish they would. You will make mistakes, and you've got to deal with those mistakes. I have found that if there was a mistake, if I have wronged in some way, it is the best to sort it out directly. Sort it out without any time lapse. Don't wait for things to brew and stew. Sort them out directly. And that includes in the department. You are working in an environment with other people, diversity, and if you've wronged anybody in the department, in your work relationships, you have to deal with it as best you can. And that includes in the family as well. If you've wronged in a family setup, in the institutional setup, you will have to fix that straight away. But most importantly, always battle out again. If you've done research, your paper's been rejected, um, you haven't got that, didn't receive that promotion, something didn't go the way in which you wanted it to, you must paddle out again. You must try to ride the wave again, try to commit, take off on a wave, and just get back on the horse and try to go on with the tasks at hand. You will only improve by spending time in the water. And that is a given across the whole spectrum of your life and what you want to be and want to do. If you are a researcher and you want to be a keen researcher, then do research. It's as simple as that. If you want to write, then write. You can only get better by writing more and more and more. If you want to be a family person, then spend time with your family. It's as simple as that. You can only improve as a person, you can only improve as a colleague, you can only improve as a researcher if you spend time with the people and foster the relationships with those that you have in your work environment as well as in your family environment. You have to be there. You cannot be somewhere else. This is probably one of the most important aspects in one's institutional life is you need to learn how to duck dive. You need to learn how to say no. Tasks come your way, especially in a small department. If you're in a small department, you get tasks to do from whoever. And you need to learn how to duck dive, how to duck. And I'm not saying that you must bob and weave and say no to everything, but you have to know which tasks you are not going to do. But again, you must commit. You must say, I am not going to do this. Don't say you will do it and then duck it. You've got to say what you will and will not do. But again, of course, that comes with consequences. And as I said early in my career, I took that decision. And in retrospect, it was the best decision that I've made because I would have gone into a career path I think that would not have suited me. I took the flack, but at the end, it worked out for the best. So I'm not saying say no to everything, but I do say know what to say no to. And what is that? What should you say no to? From an institutional point of view, of course, it's sometimes very, very difficult to say no, especially if the HOD or the dean gives you a task to do. But one has to box clever. One has to think about if this is advantageous to me and advantageous to my family. Will it take me away from things that are more meaningful in my life? If so, then really learn how to duck those waves. Number 9, watch out for sharks. Watch out for the predators. Watch out for the people that do not have your best interest at heart. There are many. There are many people that are trying to bring you down. There will be many people that will, in an institutional point of view, there will be many people that will be jealous. There's many situations where you find yourself in a compromised position because of what people are saying, what people are doing, how people discriminate against you, how people how people deal with your you as a person and you in your work as well. Watch out for those. Be with people that are positive. Be with people that you can work with. Surround yourself with people that are like minded. They don't necessarily have to be in your research field or don't naturally have to be in your institution, but surround yourself with people that you like, that likes you, that you get along with, and forget about those that are there to bring you down, to discriminate against you, to make you feel unworthy and not a good researcher or family person. So watch out for those. Then the second to last point is surfing alone sucks. It's always better being with people. And that is on expedition, when you travel, when you're in the department, when you're in your family. To be with other people and like minded people are the best. And polar researchers are the best people in the world. Trust me. They, you have to be with people that you can like and that can like you. And don't try to go it alone. There's a lot of instances where you have to go it alone, I'm sure, but in your research life, in your institutional life, in your academic life, surround yourself with people, and being alone sucks. And it's also not necessarily safe to be by yourself. It's always better to have a second ear, second opinion when you do that research paper. It's always better to have somebody there that have your back, that you can moan to, that will suffer with you when the reviews comments come back. Working with people and people that are with like-minded is at the absolute best. And I would really encourage not being alone and going on your research endeavor or your academic endeavor alone. And then lastly, spread the stoke. Be what you can be for other people, and especially for younger people. Isabella said it so nicely with the supervisors and how you progress from being a student to being a supervisor. For me, I still feel like a student. I still think the best thing that I can do is to give other people, and especially young people, opportunities. Opportunities to travel, opportunities to do research, opportunities to see new things and to do new things, opportunities to lecture, to learn how to lecture, to be better. And I think that is the most important thing in one's academic life, is to spread the stoke. And as well as in your family. You have to spread the stoke in your family. You have to spread the stoke in your friends, your group of friends. Be that guy. Be that person. Spread the stoke. Have a smile on your face. Ride the wave and enjoy it. And share that enjoyment of being a researcher. Share that enjoyment of being an academic. Because let's be honest, we do have the best job in the world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vern, and it's very tangible with your surfing analogy, I think, to many of us, because some of us are maybe like halfway into our careers, still students, so it's navigating this transition that it really helps to have these images to remind us. We have a few questions here. The first one maybe leads off from the previous talk by Katie, where we are looking at transformation, but at the same time, your advice is also to listen to the established and the experienced. And so the question is, how do we differentiate between following advice, but also maintaining old non-transformative habits and ways? So to not follow the same groove, but to actually follow good advice. How do you differentiate between those two?
Okay, so yeah, that's a very, very good question. Advice and life advice, I think, let's talk about life advice, are what it has been for the ages. I think when it comes to asking an older scientist for advice on, and if that, of course, this is saying that the older scientist has your best interest at heart. I mean, that's the standpoint I'm coming from. I'm not talking about somebody that doesn't have your best interest at heart, because you should not even be speaking to that person. So if you have a person that is your best interest at heart, I think it is still worth your while to speak to that person, to hear what they've got to say. Look, at the end of the day, it's up to you if you want to take that advice or not. I mean, that is the choice that you in your life, that you have to make in your life. If you choose to take the advice, that's fine. If you choose not to, that's also fine. And that is what I've been saying about committing. Then you commit either way. And I think there is still something to be said about people that has gone through some life experiences and has gone through certain things that you may have gone through. If you have had your first rejection on a paper, for instance, go speak to somebody about that. How do you deal with that? I've had many papers rejected, and there's a lot of people that had papers rejected. So that is something I think that you can go to somebody and say to them, listen, I've just had a paper rejected. How do I deal with it? What is the next step? So I still think there is something to be said about finding or getting advice from older academics, but you must know, or you must be sure that that person has your best interest at heart.
Thank you, Werner. That's very valuable. And I think it comes back down to the point where you need to surround yourself with people that are like-minded and that have your best interests. And sometimes it's difficult when you are still at the early stages to identify who are just really like is giving you tough love, if I can put it that way. That are, or who those that are actually out to use you. So I guess that comes with growing. There's a follow-up question you mentioned that when you don't have a family yet, you put all your energy into a career, and as your family starts growing, the work-life balance shifts. So do you find that's what happened in your life, that balance shifted?
Um, yeah, yes and no. I think you kind of realize how much time you actually have in a day. First of all, especially when you've got young kids, and you have to work at what times of the night to get things done. I think the balance is you've got to commit either way. If you at work, you commit to your work and you do your work. If you're at home, you commit to your family. And I think the main key here, the main thing is committing. You've got to commit, and you've got to commit either way. So balancing doesn't necessarily mean the one up against the other. It doesn't mean necessarily mean that when you are with the one, you not necessarily don't have the other. I think it is a question, or it's a case of being there for both at all times, but you by committing and saying, I'm going to have to do this thing. You've given me a task to do, a student has given you a task to do, and you say, by Wednesday I will do it, and you better just do it by Wednesday. Irrespective of the kids having measles, and you have a wife that's angry because she hasn't slept for how long, and you're on the edge, you've committed and you've done it. And I think that is what the key is. Be there always. Be for both, commit to both, and you will see the one, or you'll see success in the one and success in the other. I don't think it's necessarily a case of the one or the other. If that is the point I want to make, because you commit to both, and you just got to deal with your commitment.
Yeah, that's very helpful. I guess a follow-up on that would be, but maybe you've said it now, is that do you ever switch off? You don't ever switch off from either, but you kind of jumping between the two, And maybe similarly, like how do you deal with students having different work hours to you?
Yeah, okay, so no, that is very true. Switching off becomes very difficult, and you have to actually make time to switch off. But yes, you have different situations, and you don't switch off. But that's why you need to get something away, do something that's away from the work, and you have to get something that will keep you occupied, or that will keep your mind off some of the pressures. But you're right, you never switch off, and that is a problem. But you've got to deal with that. And then if you switch off, then you commit to switching off. And then in my case, it will be doing something with the family, going to the beach or whatever, spending time with my daughter in the water, or whatever the case may be. But yes, switching off is difficult. And that's one of the things that most people struggle with. And I think that's also one of the things why there is, in a lot of cases, then people committing to the family, and then the work gets pushed aside, or people will involve themselves so much in work that the family suffers. So yeah, that is the main thing, is when and how to switch off. They said students working differently than you do. Look, fortunately and unfortunately, you are always connected. I'm always connected via my phone. I always have emails coming through at what days and what hours, and you will just have to deal with that. And if your family understands that, if you're sitting and having a meal with them, and after the meal you quickly sort out your emails, um, while the kids are in the bath or whatever the case may be, then you do that. So your family must also understand. And I think from the start, one must play open cards and say, listen, I've got to give me 10 minutes. I need to sort this out. Because also, if you've sorted that out, if you've sorted your emails out, say after dinner, then the rest of the evening can be free for your family. So again, it's balancing the time that you have, but being committed to or both things of your life, both spheres of your life.
Thank you very much, Werner. That was very helpful. If there's any other questions from the attendees, you can please post them in the Google documents in the drive, and we will try and get them answered for you. Thank you very much, Werner. Appreciate it. And just again, a thank you to all the speakers we had in the afternoon and the morning sessions. It was really valuable. We have a last lucky draw for the books. Courtesy of Antarctic Legacy of South Africa and an Interact Field Guide from APECSSA. And these are Asmita Singh, Kagiso Malepe, Tasha Smith, Wamashudu Nembiwe, and Hugo Gumaro. If you guys can please all just send us your details, and we will be able to get your book prizes to you. If you've left the chat already, we will post on our web, but please send us an email with your shipping details and your email address, and we can get in contact with you. And that is it from all of us. We hope you really enjoyed this meeting. Please send us feedback if you have, or recommendations on how to improve, or what we can add on the next workshop if we have one. And just again, thank you so much to all the panelists and also the participants for sending their questions. May you have a wonderful and prosperous 2020. Thank you, everyone.